Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to actually talk to you about your PhD journey and what does it mean to actually be part of a PhD journey. So if you don't know me, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out to get through graduate school that I decided to pay the favor forward and help you out as much as I possibly can. All right, so what does it mean to be part of your PhD journey? So for me, this is the unique process through which, or the unique path through which we all go through whenever you are pursuing your PhD, and it continues to go on after that. And it's a process of knowledge discovery, and we're looking at the path dependency, the trajectory that you go on as you go and you discover the things that you discover. And it's a very long-term process. It's not a short-term process, and that's the reason why I was thinking about it this morning as I was driving in. And it's probably been my thousandth, maybe my tens of thousands of time that I've drove in the morning to work to go and do a little bit more discovery. I was thinking about the different things that I had to do today, and mostly it was reading. Maybe I would get to some data analysis on something that I'm currently working on. But what you're looking at and what you're trying to do is think about the entire process, the search process that you go through as a PhD or as an academic. And at the beginning of your PhD, when you first start out, the first couple of years, you do a lot of reading, and then you'll start to do more data analysis and dig into the data and build on the stuff that you are reading and writing. And we often think that when you stop your PhD, or you might be thinking that when you stop your PhD that ends, right? Like that is the sort of terminal degree or the terminal moment where everything sort of comes together and that's it. But it's not really the case. What you're thinking about is a journey through self-discovery. It's a journey through understanding who you are as an individual. It's a journey through which you develop and you keep building something that nobody else has done before. And so it might start off with this little tiny nugget at the beginning. And that's what you're looking at, right? So the first, maybe it's 5 years that you've been working on something. That's a little tiny nugget. And you keep working at it and keep growing that thing. And eventually after, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, you've developed and you've built out a little area that you become known for. And that's really what the PhD journey is all about, is this sort of self-discovery and telling other people the things that you've discovered and the things that you have understood along the process and along that search process. And sometimes the things that you discover are wrong or not correct, and that's you have to go and redevelop and rethink about the things that you've done, and that's what the whole replication process, or what you should be thinking about in terms of replicating your work, or somebody replicates your work and they discover something is not correct with what you've done. Well, then you have to go back and rethink about what you've done, and maybe you come up with some other new discovery from that. It's not in the sense that when somebody discovers that something is wrong with what you've said or something that you sort of overlooked, it doesn't mean that is necessarily what you've done is wrong. You just didn't sort of think about it in that way, and you have to go back and rediscover and rethink about the stuff that you've thought about. And there is this whole journey that you go through, and you're constantly being pushed in terms of understanding something. It's not any single day that you are doing, you're done. It's an ongoing process. And I've been doing this long enough that I've met a few people that are retired or going into retirement through the PhD process. They're academics, professors, and things like that. And what ends up happening with them is that they have almost like an existential crisis, where they have to think about, what are we going to do for the remaining few years where this has sort of been my life, this process, this journey that you go through. And a lot of them will continue on after they're retired, and that's a professor emeritus, where you go and you develop and you think about some more stuff because you've been on this journey for your whole life and you don't really know anything else. And that's a wonderful thing, that you're going through this process, that you're going through this, what Jim March calls Jim March is a very prolific scholar in organizational theory and psychology and philosophy and all sorts of different areas. And he calls this a scholar's quest, where you're thinking about going to where you're going, and I'm trying to understand what you are trying to do and what you're all about. And that's really what being an academic is about. And that's why it's kind of really an interesting, fun career, that you can do that. You can sort of just peruse through life and reflect on the things that you are currently doing and what other people are currently doing. It's a wonderful sort of journey that you have to go through. And that's, for me, that's what a PhD journey is all about. It's this process of self-discovery and thoughtfulness that you go through. It's really, one part of it is, cut and dry. It's a search process where you're looking for some new knowledge and you're going through discovery and you're publishing this new knowledge. There's a whole literature on search processes. But really, it's more of a personal thing where you are developing as a person. So with these videos over time, for me, as well as doing my own work and pushing out the whole reciprocity project, I know it takes years to develop something like that. And I can look back and say, well, this was a wonderful thing for me. Might not be for everybody, but it's a wonderful thing for me. And that's all that personally matters. And that's what you should think about, is what you do yourself, or what you can do yourself, and keep doing that thing that you're doing that's for yourself. So whether you're starting about a PhD or starting to think about a PhD, that's when you start thinking about the sort of self-discovery is what you are going to do with the rest of your life. And you keep doing that thing, and you keep pushing through all of the murkiness around you, and you keep continuing until you get to where you're going. And we never get to where we're going. So hopefully that answers your question in terms of what is the PhD journey, or one person's take on the PhD journey. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate it, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.